What is up, everyone? Let's turn down the music a little bit. What is up, everyone? Welcome to your first website. Hi, Adam. I'm glad that you're able to attend the stream today as well. It was really great seeing you yesterday as well. Hopefully, you're not eating snow again. But I hope maybe the weather's like cozied up a little bit. But overall, I'm super excited to be here and say hi to everyone involved. I will start the streams like a little bit later so that way it gives people time to kind of get in, get settled. So it's super important um, to have some water next to you, have a snack, make sure that you're prepared for this live stream because, just like a hackathon, it's important to feel your body, feel your brain so we can get to learning. Oh no, the snow melted. Well, hopefully you get snow soon. Fresh snow is Hi, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and change the banner. So down there, you'll see a couple links below. You'll see Hackpack YFW. If interested in seeing the slides, these slides, that's where you can find them. You can also find me on Twitter down below. And you can also check in at Hackpack YFW3 check-in. Make sure that you go ahead and check in so you get credit for coming to this live stream. I know that you're here just to come and learn, but it never hurts to get a little bit of points for some MLH swag. Okay, so to repeat that first link, the hackpack/YFW with Mara 3 is for getting the slides and all this information here. I'll be going through it. You can follow me on Twitter at Mara Codes, and then you can also check in at hackpack/YFW3 check-in. Okay. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to your first website. It's an introduction to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Each language is one live stream, and today is JavaScript. Whatever happened to Margin Smith? That is still my TikTok, but my TikTok isn't very tech anymore, so I went ahead and I just kind of made myself a new persona, Mara Codes. But I'm not super great at keeping up with Twitter, but I still love it. It's really great for the CS community. Okay, so a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Mara. I've been a Major League Hacking coach since November 2020, which is crazy that it's been like 2.5 years now. I currently work full-time as a full-stack web developer using React and TypeScript. I was working on some PRs this morning, actually, and I got my start using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript just like we are doing today. I think the reason I got my first ever internship that led me to this job was honestly because I had made a simple bootstrap website. That's a little bit about me while I'm teaching this. So today, what we'll be going over is we're gonna go kind of like over an intro. If you've been to the other live streams, it'll be kind of like a reiteration, a refresher for anyone who hasn't been to previous live streams. We'll kind of talk about JavaScript a little bit. If you have experience with other programming languages, a lot of it's going to be familiar, maybe just with different syntax, and then we'll go ahead and we'll practice. So the way that I'm doing this is I'm going to go ahead and slideshow at y'all for a little bit, kind of give you examples of things, let you see it in text for two reasons. One, you can use these as notes later on. If you just, again, go to the link down below, you can see these slides. And two, it kind of primes you before you practice. So you're not just like, whoa, okay, this is what we're doing now. You kind of know like, oh, I remember seeing this. This is why we're doing this now. So you have a little bit more information, a little bit more context. So a little bit of basics. What is a website? So if you use Google, you use ChatGPT, you use Twitch, you're using a website right now. Even the MLH website is also a website. And you can actually see all the code just by right-clicking and doing inspect elements, if you've ever been curious to know how to do it. A website is just a way to display information on the web. Super simple. So if you look at a website like you were to look at a body, HTML is going to be your skeleton. It's going to be the bones. If you don't have your bones, you don't have the body. So you need to have HTML to have a website. Next, you have CSS. CSS is like the skin. The skin is really great for giving everyone like a unique look, different look. And if you think of like skin on video games like Valorant, Fortnite, Minecraft, you have all these different skins. They just give different looks, even if underneath it's all the same. Then third, which is what we'll be working on today, is JavaScript. JavaScript is really great for giving an extra oomph to the website. It allows users to have more interaction with the website, which overall makes it more engaging. Is going to keep people on your site. They're like the muscle, you know? Okay, so we're going to go over JavaScript basics. While I go to this first slide, who has programmed before? If you've programmed before, what languages have you worked in? Just curious, because I know it always helps to have some background information. I would love the entire list of programming languages. Maybe I'll learn a few from you. Swift and Java? Okay. If you know Swift and Java, you'll be able to catch on to JavaScript pretty easily. That being said, even if I say something is quote unquote easy, it's more like you have that foundation for it. But of course, as with all things, it's going to take a sec to get used to and learn. Okay, Python, Golang, C++, and Rust. Okay, so a lot of these concepts are going to be the same because we're going to go over variables and if statement and input. We have all those in these other programming languages, but I love that. I do want to learn Rust. I feel like I've heard so many good things about it, but I just haven't gotten to it. Okay, I'm going to assume Adam's still working on his list of programming languages that he knows. And if he is, I'll go ahead and share that. But in the meantime, I'll move forward. I also want to say if at any point you send something into the, like you have a question or you want a clarification, feel free to send it to the chat. I'll look at the chat periodically and try to answer as quickly as possible. This is for y'all. Okay, so what we'll be doing today is first we're going to make a console game with Hilo, but it's going to be more just like, not a console game, it's going to be like alerts. And then we'll go ahead and make a web game. Ooh. Let's see. Scratch, Python, PHP, JavaScript. Okay, you got JavaScript, emoji code, MicroPython. This is sick. This is fun. Okay, love that. I'll have to check this out, especially the emoji code of MicroPython. That sounds fun. Okay, I remember one time for a hackathon, someone's hackathon project was making a programming language, but you only use like different variations of the word Among Us. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you all are already familiar with programming. So I'm gonna go over some concepts that may seem a little basic to you, but no worries. I'll try to go through them so that way if there's anyone who's a little too shy and like doesn't know how to program, they also have like a basic understanding. So first, we have variables. Variables are important for saving information. So in math, you have, like, let's say if 1 plus x equals 2, what's x? That's a way to kind of have a placeholder for some information. However, in programming, we don't have to calculate what x is. We actually already know what x is. That's already given to us. So, for example, if you have y equals 10, x equals 10, and then y equal x, then you know that y is equal to x, which is equal to 10. So right now what we're going to go over for JavaScript are two main types of variables. We're going to have one constant variables, const keyword. And two, we're going to have let variables. Depending on what kind of programming languages you use, you might be used to like, oh, it's been a sec since you might just be used to just like calling like the type and then saying the variable name. But with JavaScript at least, const is going to be for any variables that are constant. Okay, var, variable. Var is also a keyword that you can use to declare a variable, but because it's not super descriptive, you'll find that people prefer to use const or let. Just because var can mean either or, and it's better to not keep things like so wishy-washy. Okay, I say var. Var probably makes sense. I say var like because variable. Variable, variable, var. What? I'll say var. But the reason that we're not using var here, or I'm trying not to introduce it to y'all, is because var can either mean const or let, and we'd rather be more specific. Because the more specific we are with our code, the less likely we'll have a bug later on. So one is we have const. Const means that we're never going to reassign this variable. Once we make it, that's it. That's the only value it's ever going to have. Then we have let, which is a variable that you're going to change later on. This is great because if for whatever reason you have const x and later on you change x, it'll be like, hey, you're not supposed to do this. You said you weren't going to do that. You said it was constant. And then the same thing with let and y. If you never change it later on, it's going to say like, hey, you said you were going to change this. What's up? So that's here. So if you have const x equals 10, you can't change it later on. If you have let y equals x, then you got to change it later on. I feel like personification of coding language, it really gets you in the mindset, just be the code. Okay. So if you worked with variables before, you worked with programming, you're probably familiar with different with different value types. So particularly, we're going to talk about strings and numbers. These are pretty much consistent everywhere. A string is typically just a string. However, with numbers, those can be ints, doubles, floats, depending on what programming language you're using. But as far as I know, in JavaScript, you can just call it a number. So these are two very common variable types. It's a string until you get to C. Ooh, what's C? What does C do to it? I know if you have one character, it'll be a character. I'm now understanding that when you shorten a word, sometimes it doesn't sound like the beginning of that word. Oh, there's no string in C. It's a char array. Side-eyed to C. But anyways, so for example, if we have a couple different variables, we have a constant variable named name, and it's equal to Mara. This is a string. An easy way to know that something is a string is if you see these quotes around it. That's pretty much a simple way. Then another constant I have is num of fingers. So I personally have 10 fingers, so I use the number 10, and that's a number. However, there is a tricky case that if you put a number inside quotes, it's actually now a string. Isn't that crazy? Yes. I think that's wild that string doesn't exist. I learned low level programming languages in college, and then I got out of college and I was like, I never want to touch this again. I'm actually successfully avoiding C# at work. I mean, if someone tells me do C#, I'll 100% go for it. I'm just not my strong suit. Okay, so, before I move on to functions, does anyone have any questions about variables? Depending on where everyone's comfort level is, we can see before we move on to functions. Oh, string data does exist in C++. We have a little bit of controversy here. I'm not the C++ master, so I do not know. I've seen this meme somewhere about Hmm. Oh, this is fun. This is I think I have this in the slides later, that I'll have to bring this back up again and we'll explain it. Okay. So first, we're gonna go over functions. If you have coded for, a little bit, hopefully you've worked on functions before. Functions are great for a principle called DRY, the DRY principle. Don't repeat yourself. When you're coding, you don't repeat yourself. When you repeat yourself, you lead the way to creating more bugs. When you think about it, programming is all about not creating bugs. Because if you don't create bugs, you create beautiful, wonderful programs that do exactly what you want it to. And sometimes that doesn't always work. So functions are a great way to reuse code. So think about when you tie your shoe. When you tie your shoe, you put the shoe on, you pull the tongue of the shoe out, you grab your two laces, you cross them over, you tie them however you want to tie them, like over either like bunny ears or like that fun way around like the tree or whatever you call it. You tighten the laces and you stand back up. However, if you tell someone like, hey, give me a quick set, I'm gonna go put on my shoe, pull out the tongue, grab the two laces, tie them bunny ears, and stand back up. I'll be there in just a minute. That's such a mouthful. So instead, you can say like, hey, give me a minute. I'm gonna go tie my shoes. So the point of this is that functions are just like that. So instead of having to say the same lines of code over and over and over again, a function allows you to kind of package it up so you can just call the function and does all that stuff inside of it. So this is the syntax for it. You use the function keyword, you give it a name, you use parentheses, you put curly brackets, and you put your code in between the curly brackets. If you also need to give in additional information, you can, inside the parentheses, you can give it a parameter. And this gets a little tricky, so we'll play around with it a little bit. Again, it's okay if you're new to functions, it's okay if you don't get it right off the bat. We'll be practicing it. Okay. So another function that we're going to be using, console log, we might actually, so console log is just a way of doing, like if you do print in Python, if you do system.out.println in Java, you do std cout in C++, I think. But it's just different ways of printing to the console. We won't be working with this today, but I do just want to kind of share, just because if you're working on JavaScript, console log, I love debugging through the console. Even though maybe it's not the best thing, I do a lot of front end stuff, so I always debug through the console. Oh, okay, so if you do C++, this is it down below. So for example, this is a function. Behind the scenes, they're doing a bunch of different things. They're taking in the input that you're giving it, they're computing it, doing all this stuff, so that way you can see it come out somewhere else. So if you want to use this, all you have to do is pass in the parameter that you want to see printed. So x equals 10, you console log x, and then you get 10 here. We have y equals 5, you console log y, you get 5 here. And if we get even fancier with it, we can do x plus y, which would give us 15. Okay. So this basically helps us like see what's happening behind the scenes. Okay. Also, something that we're going to be working with is, have you all ever gone on a website and you get like a little alert on the top and it just gives you like, hey, alert? That's what we're going to be working with. However, we'll also be adding in something else, not just alert, we'll also be using prompt. This is going to be great because prompt is going to take in the input. It's going to take in whatever you give it, so you you as the coder can say like, hey computer, go ask the user what they want. And then the computer goes, okay, I'm gonna go ask the user. The user goes, this is what I want. And the computer goes, okay, got it. And then you can say, okay, computer, now do this with what the user wants. So for example here, if you do prompt, what's your name? You can ask for a name. So for example, my name is Mara. Then you save it into this variable called name. Later on, I can print out your name is, and then add name here. So it says your name is Mara. And whatever you put it in, it's going to change. So if you want to do your name is Adam, or you want to do your name is Jeffrey, or whatever, you can do that in here, and it'll change each time. All right, any questions so far? Kind of looking it through this. I'm good with that. Music's kind of jammy. Okay, so it seems like we don't have any questions so far. So we're gonna go over if statements. If statements are super common. You probably have them in everyday colloquial life. You're probably saying like, if I'm in a savory mood for breakfast, I'm gonna have eggs. If I'm in a sweet mood, I'm going to have pancakes. Hey, if you like trying to like negotiate with some like a roommate or a sibling on chores, and you go, if you do the dishes, I'll do the laundry. That else I won't do anything. That's kind of the same thing, but for programming with if statements. The only difference is that we're gonna make it a little more structured. So this is the syntax for it. If you put in some code, a condition, and then do this, you put it inside the curly brackets. You can also do else if, you can do this, you can look at this other thing, do this other thing. Else if these two are false, then do this thing. So for example, this is pseudocode here, so this is an actual code. Pseudocode is great. It means exactly what you think it is. Pseudo, false, code. I love using pseudocode because I think it's a great way to wrap your mind around what you're about to do before you put it out into the syntax. I'm a very big proponent of coming up with logic before getting bogged down in like the semicolons of it all. I actually just printed out pieces of paper so that way I could read through it, highlight it, and it's like I printed out like pages of code, like different files, and then wrote my own code down on the paper so that way when I got back to my computer, I really understood what I was doing. Some people like grind and just go on the computer, but I don't know. I think especially for me, I'm a little more, I need to conceptualize a lot more things, so I really love pseudocode. So for example, if the password is correct, then you go ahead and sign in. Else if the password is an old one, you're going to try again. Then else if it's not correct, so it's not correct, it's not an old one, then you're going to go ahead and say your password is incorrect. That's not yours. My pseudocode is Python. That is so valid. Code in Kotlin, not because it's easy, but because it doesn't have any semicolons. JavaScript. Python. Do not let no semicolons make you choose Kotlin. So of course, code in whatever makes you happy. Okay. So this is the more like computer science way of looking at it. So you're gonna say if condition 1, else if condition 2, else, then whatever. Any questions about if statements? I went snowboarding like for the first time last weekend, and my body is still feeling the aches. So my neck is just killing me. Okay. Again, if you guys have any questions, like feel free to send them into the chat. No worries. Okay, so variables, Boolean, aka true or false. Boolean is another type of variable, just like a string or a number, except a Boolean is just true or false. There's no in between. It's just those two, true or false. So for example, if I do something like 10 less than 5, 10 is not less than 5, so that's going to be false. And this is a Boolean. So this is a Boolean that simplifies to false. 10 greater than 5 is a Boolean that simplifies to true. This is really great when you're thinking about if statements because it's a condition, because you need a condition that's either true or false. Okay. Let's see, Adam, if I can find that link you sent earlier. It's gonna take me a sec to type it up. I can't copy and paste links for whatever reason. But this is where we're gonna talk about. Oh, I love this. I really love this. Okay, we are going to pull that up in a sec. This is a link. I'll pull it up in a sec. But so JavaScript is fun. This is where JavaScript starts to go a little like, if you've coded in other programming languages, you're like, that's funny, JavaScript. So if you're familiar with equal signs and you're familiar with comparing things, you know that one equal sign is to assign a value. Two equal signs is to compare. However, even more beautifully, three equal signs is also to compare, but also compares the type as well. So for example, these first two are just two equal signs. So the number 1 is equal to the number 1. However, the string 1 is also equal to the number 1. However, when you add in that third equal signs, it's also checking to see if the type is the same. So number 1 is equal to number 1, including the type. However, string 1 is not equal to number 1 when you include the type. I'm gonna show y'all this photo that Adam showed because frankly, I love it. Okay, so this is a beautiful example of JavaScript being difficult. So for example, if you see that first slide, you'll see that 0, the number 0, is double equal signs. Oh, thank you. Okay. Double equal signs equal to the string 0, because remember, 2 equal signs does not involve the type. But 0 is also equal to an empty array because 0 is also kind of equal to like nothing, and so is an empty array. So if you try to apply the transitive property that you see, the 0 is equal to, number 0 is equal to the string 0, and then if the number 0 is equal to the empty array, then obviously the string 0 will be equal to the empty array. However, that is not true. And that's where you kind of go, JavaScript, what are you doing? Okay, Pipetty, what's up? So is const used as a number, string, or Boolean? So, so there's different parts to a variable. First, you have to declare that variable. This is where you're going to be like, hey computer, this is the first time I'm giving you the variable, and I'm going to tell you whether or not it's a constant variable, I'm using const, or if I'm going to let this change. So const or let. And that's like a declaration keyword. Okay, that goes before the variable name. Then you have the variable name, which you can name it whatever you want. You have the equals, which then assigns it. and then you have a value. And that value is data. And that value, data, whatever that you're assigning to the variable, that's what has the type either number, string, or Boolean. So you can have a constant variable and you can have it equal to a number. You can have a constant variable and you have it equal to a string. You have a constant variable and you can have it equal to a Boolean. Constant just means that you're not going to change the variable like value. However, the value is what has the number, string, or Boolean type. Does that make sense? So there are two different things that, yeah, they're two kind of separate things. Go ahead and go back to the slides themselves. Okay, I'm glad that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, JavaScript is so fun. I actually really like it. My husband joked me, he was like, are you gonna tell them that TypeScript is way better? And I was like, probably, I think I already have. But if you're ever interested and you've learned a little bit of JavaScript and you're like, what else is out there? So TypeScript, I think I have to like disclose this. TypeScript is a Microsoft language. It's basically a more strict JavaScript. So there's like more rules to it, but you can do the same stuff. And like I work at Microsoft, and so like that's what I use in my daily work life. And I really enjoy it, honestly. When I work on regular JavaScript, I'm like, what is this barbarian nonsense? I want to learn TS. Honestly, do it. It's pretty easy. You just have to declare the type of everything and always use semicolons. I do not know I don't know XML, but TypeScript is like essentially the same thing as JavaScript, just with like, yeah, TypeScript is the same thing as JavaScript, but just more rules. Okay, Adam says XML is a way to store data, so it's not the same thing as TypeScript. TypeScript is like JavaScript, except you just have to type everything. Oh, love this. Okay. So now we're going to combine a couple different things, So if we have an if statement, and we use prompt, and we use const, and we use like comparisons and all of that. So for example, we have a variable called name, and we're going to prompt the user, what's your name? The computer is going to ask the user, what's your name? Then the user goes, me, the user goes, Mara. And so Mara gets saved into the name variable. Next, what you're going to see is there's an if statement. And so if the variable name is equal to Mara, then you're going to go ahead and console log, that's my name. Otherwise, you console log, your name is blank. So if for whatever reason, I said that, when this was prompted, if instead of Mara, I said something like Betty, then it would say your name is Betty, because this Betty is not equal to Mara. Okay. Also, we are going to introduce a while loop. So again, if at any point, I'm going through different topics kind of relatively fast, depending on like what your programming knowledge is. So if you find that I'm going too fast, let me know. I'll go a little bit slower. Whew. Okay, so we have a while loop. I'm sorry, I'm a little drowsy. It's after work, but I'm excited to be on this live stream, so I gotta keep focused. Gotta stay awake. Because for me, I don't know about y'all, but it's 5:38 p.m. where I am, and that might not sound late to you because it's not late, but boy, I get sleepy at 3 p.m. Okay. Also, what time is it for everyone? I always love like hearing where everyone is and what time it is. Okay. So we're also going to talk about while loops. While loops, just like if statements are something that you're probably used to in the English language. This is pseudocode. This is all pseudocode. I will have the code version later. So if you think about it, while I'm cooking, I'm gonna put on a YouTube video, or while I'm driving, I'm gonna play a podcast. So while Adam is awake, play music. Love that. See, a very, a while statement that you would just say in English. 2:40 a.m. Man, by the time it gets to like midnight, my eyes are closing. I love night owl. I love the night owls. Okay, so this Pip Buddy is the actual. This is the code version. Okay, so I'm gonna use let x equals 5. Can anyone tell me why I use let instead of my normal const? I've been using const most of the time, so why am I using let now? Trying to like stifle my yawns. It's so I can change it. Yes. And also, yeah, I guess kind of also for block scoping, but I think that term, depending on how new you are to programming, might be a little confusing. But the base is so I can change it. So let x equals 5. While number x equal 5, then keep asking what is x. And then when it's no longer 5, console log x is no longer 5. Okay, so what is x? 5. What is x? 5. What is x? 10. X is no longer 5. So it's going to keep going until you break it. With these while loops, it's really important to have a way to break it. Otherwise, you'll have something called an infinite loop, and it will literally go on forever and forever until the computer crashes. Okay. So another thing I want to explain here, number x. If you remember before, when I talked about prompt always takes in a string. So when I put down 5 here, the computer reads that in as quotes 5. Okay, so it's like quote 5, end quote. So quote 5, a 5 string that has 5 inside of it, is not equal to the number 5. So what I'm doing is I'm applying this function right here that does something, it typecast it. So it changes it from a string to a number. Just like how in a movie you will cast an actor and you kind of, for the movie, you change them into the character. That's the same thing, but with this, like both these types. So you take the x, you take this x right here that, maybe it's a string, and you make it into a number. So that way, because we have these 3 equal signs, we know that it's equal to the number 5. So does that make sense? It might be a little confusing. I think typecasting is a little tricky. I'll give it a sec. Okay. So time to combine it. So what we're going to be doing today, we're actually about to start programming. We are going to be doing high-low. So this is a game that you've probably played, even with your voice. You pick a number, or someone picks a number, and the player guesses a number, any number. The computer then is going to say whether your guess is higher, lower, or the same as the number that you're trying to guess. And you keep repeating steps 2 and 3 until the numbers are the same. So if we turn that into kind of computer words, first, we are going to assign a variable. Second, we are going to prompt the user and save the answer to the variable. Third, we're going to use an if statement to see if the user is correct. Then 4, we're going to wrap that all up in a while loop, so that way it keeps letting you guess until the user is right. And then after that, we'll go ahead and we'll instead of just giving it a number, we'll make it a random number each time, so that way we can play along as well, even though we're coding it. Okay. So let's pull up the banner again and go to hackpack/YFW with Mara 3. And I will be pulling it up as well. Hackpack/YFW with Mara 3. Okay, so make sure that you go ahead and pull out that link because that is going to get you to my GitHub that has all this information that you so beautifully want. It also has the slides here. But what we're going to do is we are going to go to the REPL here. The Replit? Oh, give me a second. I just got to log in. So make sure that yeah, that's the link. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to log in. So make sure that you go to the site here. Let me know when you get to the site. Or let me know when you get to the GitHub. And then let me know when you get onto this Replit. So your view might look something similar to this. Oop. This actually also has all the answers, so we're gonna go ahead and do is, I mean, you can look at this if you want, but we are going to make something ourselves. So we are going to go to Replit. Let's go back to the main. Let's go back to home and go ahead and create a Replit and do HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I'm going to do YFW3. So I'm also going to give the date here just because if I do this more than once, it's helpful to know. Okay. Let me know when you get here. Alternatively, if you also just go to the actually here, go to this link here. I'm gonna send it in the chat. And if you have all the information here, if you have the code already done, which is okay, go ahead and go to Git down here and make sure you're on the main branch, and then you can go ahead and fork it here. Okay. Let me know if you need me to repeat that. So first, like if you don't have this view, you have all the code, go to Git, then go change the branch from completed to main, and then you can fork it here. It's okay if Replik's a little slow. Let me know when you get there. Okay, I hope you all are there. If not, you can also just watch along with me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we are going to go to game.js. So there's two parts to this. We are going to make just the game, and then we're going to turn the game into a web version of the game as well. Okay, so first, what we're going to do is we're going to create a constant variable called answer that is assigned to a number of your choosing. Whoever can tell me what this line of code should be can choose whatever number they want, and that is the number that I will be using. So number 1, we create a constant variable called answer that is assigned to the number of your choosing. So I'm gonna make sure that I actually mark this. Okay. So Betty is saying number 4. So instead of making the name num, I'm gonna make the number make the variable name answer, just so I don't get confused later on. Also in JavaScript, whew, I was about to sneeze. In JavaScript, semicolons are optional, which is kind of confusing. So usually you just kind of want to stick with one. I'm gonna keep with semicolons just because I think it helps me split everything up. If I forget a semicolon, honestly, sometimes it happens and it's not even a bug. Okay, next, how do we get the user's guess? What is something that would help us get the user's guess? Yes, there's a function that we've seen a few times so far. There's a function we've seen a few times so far. Yes, it is prompt. So we're gonna say, do I use const or do I use let to say this information? Adam with the fun fact. I honestly like this. The eastern point of Brazil is closer to Africa than its westernmost point. Do you mean like Africa? Wait, you'll have to explain that. Okay. Since we're gonna actually let the user guess as many times as they want, so we're actually gonna go ahead and we'll use let here. But other than that, you did great. And instead of putting like nothing inside the prompt, whatever you put in here is like what's gonna show up, just to give more context to the user. It's not required, but it makes it easier for the user to play your game. Okay, next, we're gonna convert guess to a number. So guess is equal to capital N number guess. So this is where we're typecasting it here. Oh, I already forgot a semicolon. So this right here is where we are typecasting it. Okay. So the reason we do that is right down here, a little reiteration of what we went through earlier in case you need a refresher. Okay. What does it mean for the guess to be correct? What does it mean? What does it mean for the guess to be correct? You don't have to do this in any coding thing if you don't know what the code would be like, but think about it. You can use like just plain old English, if that helps. What would it mean for the guess to be correct? I'd have to, let me actually string type. I'm gonna Google this really quick. It looks like that is what you can do. So here are like 3 different options. I normally just do dot to string after it, but you can do string null. I was about to say that is Python. But as you can tell, a lot of like, it's very similar to each other. So I remember when I first like when I would do when I kept switching between Python and JavaScript, just in like I would like code for fun in Python, then for work I would do it in TypeScript or JavaScript or whatever. I kept getting confused about the difference because they're like not similar, but they're just similar enough. Okay, so we're gonna say const, or we're gonna keep looking, looping until the guess is correct. So let correct, we're gonna add another variable, why not, equal answer equal guess. So while the guess, while it's not correct, not, oh, this is a fun thing, not is an exclamation point. So while it's not correct, you're gonna say exclamation point correct. Then we're gonna use these semicolons. I'm gonna drag this down. I wanna move this curly bracket up here. I might have said semicolon, oops. Okay. So if you notice, I pressed Control C, which saves it, which also runs it. So if you notice, this is what the prompt looks like. So I'm gonna put my guess just for, nothing happens. We haven't coded anything to happen. So in this while loop, while it's not correct, then we're gonna check to see if the guess is too high or too low and prompt a new guess. So if guess is greater than the answer, then we're going to use alert. So this is gonna like flash an alert on your screen. This is gonna do, oh, I can watch part 1 and part 2 on YouTube. Yes, I know we stream to YouTube as well. We do stream to YouTube, so I don't know if it is on YouTube. If not, it's also a VOD on Twitch for part 1 and part 2. And if you also go to my GitHub, the hackpack/YFW with Mara 3, you can see the slides for part 1 and part 2 as well, and they kind of walk you through things as well. I know sometimes I'm not always like a video person, I prefer like text walkthroughs, so whatever you're interested in. Okay, so we're gonna alert. We're gonna say, you guessed, or let's say too high. So why is this an error here? Expression expected. Well, if it's not stopping us, then that's fine. Okay, so the answer is 4, so I'm gonna say 6. And since 6 is greater than 4, then it's too high. Oh no. I've made a mistake. And this is a grave error. I did not, oh no, I hate this. I did not remember to break the loop. I'm stuck in an infinite while loop, and there's an alert, and I cannot get out of the alert. Okay, so guess I gotta start over. hackpack/YFW with Mara 3. This is also the GitHub if anyone needs it. Okay, so we're gonna go to the REPL. So for anyone joining, this is how we do things. Don't be like me. Don't create an infinite loop. Okay, so I'm going to take this game.js and I'm going to fork this. And I'm going to name it 310-2 because this is my second attempt at this. Okay. I'm going to quickly copy over all the code that I've written before. Thankfully, it's not too much. So const answer equals 4. Let's see how fast I can type. Let guess prompt guess. Guess number, guess. Let correct equal, answer, equals guess. And then you say, while not correct, then if guess is greater than answer. I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm going to wait until first. Let's go ahead and do guess equals, what is it? Guess equals prompt guess again. And then we're also going to make guess equal to number guess. So what I'm doing right now is I'm not making the same mistake as before. I'm making sure that since we have a while loop, there is a way to break it. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with getting the same things repeated all over again. Okay, so if guess is greater than answer, alert too high. Actually, let's go ahead and we can actually make this a prompt. So we can, instead of an alert, we can just have one notification. We can make that a prompt. Too high, guess again. This way it's less clicks for the user, which is always better. Okay, I'm gonna cross my fingers, close my eyes, and I am going to press Control S and hope it doesn't break on me. Okay, so my guess is 5. It's too high. So I'll just say 1. And nothing happens, because nothing happens after that. But yeah, does this make sense so far? Is anyone confused? Does anyone want clarification on a certain line of code? And if not, can someone tell me, what do we do next? Let me know also, is my audio okay? I noticed my video is getting a little choppy, so let me know if my audio is okay or if it's just my video. I love seeing Lahaj go strong. Okay. Thank you. I'll see your hands. Okay. Do else if for guess less than answer. Yes. Okay. So else if guess less than answer, then we're also going to say guess equals prompt. It's gonna be the same thing as too high, but we're gonna say too low. Guess again. Okay, then we're gonna run this, just make sure. And make sure you have this guess equals number guess, because if you don't, then it won't be. I'm realizing something here. Instead of this whole correct thing, because it calculates before the if loop, before the while loop. Instead of doing that, we're gonna put this in here, and we're gonna calculate the condition each time. Ooh. We're gonna wait on this. So our new condition is going to be this. So basically what this does is it's saying while the answer is not equal to guess. So whenever you're working, if you've worked with other programming languages and you're trying to do not equal, you know it's exclamation point equal sign, because it's usually 2 equal signs. But in JavaScript, because we're using the 3 equal signs like check, it's exclamation point followed by 2. Ooh. Page is not responding. I'm gonna copy this really quick just to make sure. Copy this just to make sure my code is still here. And then I'm going to let it refresh and hopefully things catch back up. Okay, so guess. So if I guess 4, nothing's gonna happen because that's correct. So I'm gonna guess 3, and it should tell me that it's too low. Okay, it's too low, guess again. I'm gonna guess 2, it's still too low. I'm gonna guess 5, that's too high. I'm gonna guess 4. Wow, nothing happened. But I kind of wanted to say something. So we've already done this. We did this here. We did that there. Okay. So if the, oh, shoot. Okay. Every time you save, the alert's gonna happen. So if the loop has exited, the guess must be correct. So in that case, we're just gonna do a simple congratulations. You won. The answer was, and then we'll do the answer here. So this way we can tell them they won, and if for whatever reason they don't remember what their last guess was, we can remind them. Congratulations, you won. The answer was 4. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone is here at this point. You should be able to put a number, and then you should, I mean, it's kind of boring game because you already know the answer, but just want to make sure that we're all here so far. So once we have that, then we can do a random number, and then we can make it more fun. And then we can go ahead and get started on the web version, which I think is also way more fun. So, how's everyone doing? Is everyone here at this point? If not, let me know what point you're at. If there's anything, I can go back. It works! I love that. Okay. So, now what we're gonna go ahead and do, instead of having a thing that we already know, we're gonna generate a random number between 1 and 100. If you look this up online, you can find a way to do it, but I'll just give it to you. It's math.floor, math.random times 100 plus 1. Basically what this is doing right here is that first you're generating a random number between 0 and 1. It's a decimal, okay? Then we're gonna multiply it by 100. So now that it's anywhere from 0 to like 99.99999. But that's still a decimal, and decimals are really hard to guess. So what we're gonna do is we are going to floor it. We are going to cut off all the decimal points. And now we have random numbers from 0 to 99. But we want random numbers, guess a number between 1 to 100. So then we add 1. So instead of 0 to 99, it's 1 to 100. Okay. So now if we run this, we actually don't know the answer. Road safety is important, y'all. Okay, too low. Guess again. Okay. So I'm gonna do something called, this is called, I think, a binary search. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split it in half each time, and that's going to guarantee that, I won't have more than, I think, 8 guesses. Maybe? I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna do 50. 50 is too high. So now I know it's between 1 and 49. So I'm gonna do 25. Now I know it's between 1 and 24. So I'm gonna do 13. Now I know it's between 14 and 24. So I'm going to do 19. Okay, now I know it's between 14 and 18. So I'll do 16. That's too low. So now I know it's either 17 or 18. So I'll do 17. Oh, it's still too low. I'll do 18. And the answer was 18. So now like this is the game that you can kind of play. You can play against the computer now. It's a different number every time. Okay, we'll play one more time. And if you guys can send in numbers in the chat and help me beat this bot, I would appreciate it. Who's gonna send in the starting number? What number are we gonna start with? Okay, let's go. 66. It's too high, so then we go do 6. Thank y'all. Okay, 6 is too high, or no, 6 is too low, sorry. What's the next number? 50. Oh. 50 is too high. 50 is too high, so we're gonna go a little bit lower. We're gonna go to 35. 35 is too high. So then we're gonna go to 16. 16 is too high. Wait, let me try 6 again. Let me make sure I didn't mess something up. Oh, it looks like 6 is too high. So 6 is too high. I think every time I click out, it thinks I'm submitting something, so it always says. 6 is too high, so 2, thank you, Pip Betty. 2 is too low. 3, hey Jackson, that is too low. We got 2 more options now, 4 or 5. 4 or 5, what are we going to do? Adam says 5. Congratulations, you won. The answer was 5. Okay. So that's how we do it. That's a very simple game. I love using this game as a way to learn. Yes, you are very smart, Adam. And your prize is the satisfaction of knowing that you're learning all day long. Congratulations on being a JavaScript whiz. Okay, so this is a very simple game. If you're ever if you want to learn like a new programming language and you want to find a way to practice, I highly suggest this game because it involves a lot of really good concepts. It lets you know how to set up variables. It introduces you to like the math libraries that you need. It lets you do like user input, which is really important. It teaches you teaches you typecasting, as well as loops and if statements and just like console printing. So if you're ever trying to learn another programming language, I highly recommend this. Okay, so now this is done. We're gonna go back to index.html and we're gonna comment this out. And we are going to comment this in. Okay, so basically what was going on is that in HTML, if you don't know HTML, that's A-okay. We're not gonna really touch it too much. We'll kind of go over it together though. But HTML and JavaScript connects through this script tag. So this is you telling the computer, hey, I want to connect the script to my web page. This is the source for it. So previous, I had game.javascript, which is what we are coding in. But now I'm going to switch it to script.javascript because that's what we're going to be working with now. Okay, so first we are going to go ahead and we are going to set up this HTML file. You can do whatever you want. I will just be, I think I can also share this with y'all. If I publish this, what does it mean to publish? I don't know, but I think maybe I can just send this to y'all, and so that way if you want to copy my HTML, I think you can do that. So I'm gonna go over this kind of very quickly. Make a title for your game. You can do whatever you want. I'm gonna use an H1 tag. I'm gonna make it called high-low guessing game. It's pretty basic, but it's descriptive. You know what's up. Then what we're gonna go ahead and do is we are going to use a form element. So if you've ever worked with like a website template, or if you've been on a website, you saw like a contact us page, And it's like contact us, put in your name, email, and your message. That's using forms. So inside the form, we have different, like, we're going to have essentially one input of type text. We're going to make the ID equal to guess. This is going to be a unique identifier. And we're going to give it the name guess. This will be important later on for when we're accessing this in the JavaScript. Okay. Okay. Next, what we're going to go ahead and do is, okay, so if we run this, look at this. Beautiful. Wow. We got stuff on our webpage. Look at us. We're programmers. We are basically web designers and developers and everything that has to do with web. But the input is like just a text box. We don't know what it's actually for. So we're going to give it a label. So right above it, you're going to say label for, and then you're going to put down like what name is it for? It's for the input with the name guess. And then you're going to put your text in it. I'm just going to make it say enter your guess. And then I'm going to close that. Okay. So now your input has a little label next to it. After that, what we're going to want to do is, so what you put text in there, that doesn't really do anything. You want to have a place that the user can be like, hey, I'm done. This is my guess, like final answer. So we're going to do a button with the type submit, and you can put anything in it. I'm just going to make it guess. Again, I just want to make it sure it's like easy to read. So look it up. Enter your guess. Yes. Look, it doesn't do anything. But next, what we're going to go ahead and do is, just like we had these alerts last time, we're going to want to do the same thing, but we're going to want to do them, on the web page itself. So we're going to set it up for success. We're going to do a paragraph tag, and we're going to give it the ID message. We're not going to put anything inside of it right now, just because, well, we don't have a message right now, but in our JavaScript, we're going to give it a message. Okay. So if I go ahead and run this is what it looks like so far. Anyone stuck? Anyone confused? Anyone like, whoa, I hate HTML? Hopefully not. I love this. I love how experimental you are with programming. That's honestly ideal. Okay. If there's no questions, we are going to go to script.js. So script.js has a bunch of information that we already have. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to set this up. So we're going to generate a random number from between 1 and 100. And like, lucky me, I already did that. So I'm going to take this from game.js, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. Okay, next what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use something called DOM, Document Object Manipulation. So basically, that is the way the JavaScript is going to be talking to the HTML. It's going to be manipulating the document. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to set up references. So I'm going to do const form equals document.query selector. So this is saying like, hey, grab the first thing in the document that is a form element. Then I'm going to make something called message, and I'm going to do the same query selector, and I'm going to put a £, because £, is how you're telling the computer like, hey, look for something with an ID that is message. So this works because we have one form element and we have one element with ID message. So it's going to just grab the first element. Okay. Next, what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to have a submit event listener. So this is also where it's going to start getting tricky because it's JavaScript and this is how we're communicating to the HTML. It's not quite, just normal coding, and it's not quite just HTML. So basically what this is we're going to do form, and we're going to add an event listener. This is basically the code being like, hey, I'm going to be like nosy. If you have an event that says submit, because remember, we have a submit button, I will be tuning in. And whenever that happens, I'm going to do whatever you tell me. Like, I'm going to do this function here. So we're defining a function called event right here. So if the submit event happens, we're going to go ahead and do whatever is said in here. So let's do an alert. Let's say submitted. Okay, so we're going to run that. And I'm going to guess submitted. So this doesn't happen all the time. This isn't like our while loop. This just happens when I press the submit button. I also don't like how it refreshes. So this is like a small thing. I'm going to do event.prevent default. That's going to stop it from refreshing because that's the default action. So it's not necessary, but I know sometimes if you're like me, you hate like that little flash. So I personally hate it. I did that today as well. Like for work, I do regularly use prevent default. I feel like everyone uses prevent default. So I don't know why that is the default, frankly. Okay. Let's go ahead and take that out. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to get the user's guess. So let guess equal, and it's going to be, or actually it's going to be const because we only need to get it once. Const guess equal. It's going to be form. Then on the form, there's an input that has the name guess, and then we're going to get the value. But remember that this is going to be a string, so we have to typecast it. So we're going to do number here. And let's go ahead and let's give ourselves an alert just so we know that it's working so far. So I'm going to run this, I'm going to save. Okay. Then let's say the guess is 5. Guess? It's 5. Let's say it's 521. There we go. So at this point, we're getting the input in from the user. Now what? If you're just coming in late, no worries. I'll actually go ahead and send this so you can see see the code itself. But you can check out hackpack/YFW with Mara 3 to see the GitHub. If you go into the completed branch, you can actually see all the code in there. And then also don't forget to check in at hackpack/YFW check-in 3. The link is also down in that banner. Right now what we're doing is we just created a JavaScript game that allows the computer to come up with a random number, and then we guess it, and it tells us whether or not we're too high or too low. We're working on making that into a very simple website. Okay. So now after we have the guess, we got to see whether or not it's correct. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we will say if guess, forgot this right here. If guess is greater to answer, then we're going to want to do something. So we don't want to just do the alert. We want to have this message show up on the page. And lucky for us, we actually have a paragraph tag with the ID message that we actually have access to here, message. And so we'll go ahead and do message dot text content. This is saying like, hey, that message, like that paragraph element that has the message ID, make the text content inside of it try a lower number. So let's go ahead and try this out. So run. I'm going to pick a number that's going to be way too high. So let's say 400. And let's guess. It's too high. It says try a lower number. So else if, and if you're like wondering like, where does this logic come from? Remember, it's the same thing as here. Else if, guess, gotta make sure you put that inside the parentheses. Else if, guess, less than answer. Then let's make that message text content into try a higher number. Else, so if it's not higher, it's not lower, that means it's the same. So else message.text content equals congratulations, you guessed the correct answer, which is going to be answer. And let's do a little exclamation mark for the fun. Okay, save that there. So I'm gonna try playing this game. 50. We need to try something higher, so I'll do 75. Need to do something lower, so let's try 60. Okay, something between that, so let's try 67. So let's try 70. So we're just guessing for the number. Let's try 68. Let's try 67. Okay, let's try 69. This is interesting. Not sure why that's not working. Let's find out. Why don't we? Let's do a quick alert answer. This some people may call cheating, but I call it debugging. So the answer is 12. So if I put 14, it should say that I should try a lower number. If I put 11, say I should try a higher number. If I put 12, try a lower number. So I have a bug right here. So if I say 12, it for whatever reason is not the same. So let's do alert. Let's do, I'm gonna type this, it's a funny string. So I'm gonna do answer, guess, let's try that. Let's see what happens here. So the answer is 47. Nothing like a little debugging. Okay, so the answer is 47, the guess is 47. Let's try a lower number. So if I go back to 47, so let's try a lower number. So if I go to 46, try a higher number. 47. Oh, wait. Okay, so let's try something. If I do 40, it says try a higher number. Now, if I do 47, what I think it's going to say, I think it's still going to say try a higher number. Okay. However, if I do 49, it's going to say try a lower number. And then I think it's still going to say try a lower number. Okay, so it's not changing. Would it not be better to outright check to see if the user gets it correct first, then if they didn't? Honestly, yeah, probably. So let's go ahead and let's change this. Oh, wait, I know the problem. I had a typo. I put 3 S's in message. So let's try this really quick. The answer is 3. That was it. That was the problem. See, this is the beautiful part about web development. Sometimes a typo really, yeah, Adam, whoops is correct. Anyways, so this is like the basic game. So if we replay it, can y'all help me out and send numbers in the chat that I should guess? And then that way we can test out this game and see what the correct answer is. Let's start with 33. Okay, so 33, let's try something lower. Let's try 7. Try something higher. Blahaj says 39.25. However, I don't think Blahaj is good at math because it's supposed to be lower than 33. So it's between 7 and 33. Okay. Let's try 13. Okay. Need a higher number. So it's between 15 and 33. Okay, still need a higher number. 16, still a higher number. Smlahaj says 21.75. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do 21 and 22 for Smlahaj. Still need to be higher. So let's try Pip Betty. They're saying 24. Still needs to be higher. Let's try 30. It's between 24 and 33. So it's between 24 and 30. It's between 24 and 30. Try 29. So, okay, let's just start going down. Okay, 26 and 29. Congratulations, the number was 27. Okay, it looks like we had a couple say 27. Okay. So that's great and all. However, I'm a little, it's a little hard to keep track of everything. Facts. I'll give you steak knives of my heart. Okay, but yeah, collectively, we're so smart. We've got it. But I'm a little confused. There's no track record of what we had before, so I want to go ahead and add that in. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to make an unordered list. That's ordered. Oops. I'm going to make an unordered list, and I'm going to give it the ID previous. Then I'm going to go inside my script here, and right underneath this, I'm going to do const previous document query selector, and I'm going to find whatever has the ID previous. So my plan for this is I have a bullet point list that gives me all of my guesses and whether it's greater or it's higher or less than my guess, just so like if I were to walk away and then come back, I know where to start off from. Okay, so that means that I'll have to make an item or a list item. So we can do that by doing, I'm gonna make a variable called previous guess entry. I'm gonna make it equal to document.createElement. I gotta spell it. Spelling really really is my downfall. I'm going to do li. This is going to create a list item element. Then when I have this guess right here, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just like message content, I'm going to do, copy this. I'm going to make the text content equal to it's lower than, and then whatever my guess is. And then I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to say it's higher than. So what this should do is create a list element that tells me whether or not my guess is higher or lower than the actual answer. Then if it's correct, I'm not going to do anything. Then what I have to do is at the end of it, I want to make sure that I get this onto the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do previous, that's the list. I'm going to append my previous guessed entry. So if you're familiar with coding, think about this, think about an unordered list as, a list. You have a list and you have an item, something you want to put onto the list. You just append it. You're just going to add it to the end. So that's what we're doing here. So if I run this and we start guessing, hopefully I can play this game a little bit faster now. Unless I broke my code. There's a chance I did break my code. Lucky for you, I actually already have it written, so I'm just gonna where did I break it? What did I do? Isn't that always a great thing when you go, huh, what's the problem? Huh. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Let's see, what is the issue here? Make sure that the code that I'm going off of also works, because if the code that I'm going off of doesn't work, then that's just, that's just on me. If anyone knows where my error is, please let me know. So we're gonna look around a little bit. I'm looking in, it doesn't seem like I have any typos or anything. It also seems like I'm getting the right previous. Let's try running it again. Maybe it was just needed to refresh. I'll also pop this onto a new tab. Oh. Okay, so maybe it was just working and I was being weird. Okay. Okay, so now you can see that you see the message and you also see a list. So now we know it's higher than 50. Do 75. It's lower than 75. We can do 62. And it was 62. 3 guesses. Don't you love it when the issue is not your code and it's simply user error? Okay, so we're kind of towards like the end of this session, but what I want you all to do is I have a couple ideas for what you can do here. You can use functions to introduce rounds, have lives and display them on the web page, or when you win, you can change the background to green, and when you lose, you can change the background to red. So for me, I'm going to give you all about 5 minutes to try this. I'm going to take a small, quick break where I will be off camera. Gotta grab some water. Hydrate. Hydrate's always important. And if y'all want, I would love to see y'all work on So y'all add your own twist to this, and hopefully we can spend like the last like 5-10 minutes just showing each other what we've been doing. Okay. So let me change to this Ruby timer. And I will be back at the end of these 5 minutes. As soon as I get this playing. As you can tell, the computer and I have a really rough relationship recently. I think it's a little jealous that I have thumbs. So as you can tell, everything is perfect and dandy. Okay, give me 1 second. You know what we'll do is we will be back. Let's see if I have. Trying to see if I have another kind of countdown. Looks like we do not. So we do not have that timer anymore. Okay. It looks like I have appeared to perhaps broken what I was, my screen. But I think I can get this back up and running. Let's see, 5-minute timer. Because it's back up and running. I'm just giving y'all more time to work on your beautiful websites. Okay. I think I got this for y'all. It's a fun little thing. Let's see. That may be where we're going. You know what? It seems like maybe it's not in the cards. It's not in the card. So that's a-okay. So I will have a banner that just says work. But let's say be back at 6:45. So this is where we are. And I'll go ahead and turn up some music for y'all. You know what? Whether or not that was 1 minute or 2 minutes away, honestly, my laptop says that it's like my laptop, I think, is like maybe 1 or 2 minutes behind. So it might be me. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to share my code. And if anyone wants to share if they've done anything so far, I would love to see it. If not, I'm also happy to work on a little something on our own, something very, very simple together before we end off for the day. So I'm gonna add this to the screen. What's up, Wombo Combo? Hope you're having a good day, night, whatever it may be. Okay. So I'm gonna choose one of these random things. If you do wanna share, please let me know in the chat. I'd be happy to pull up your webpage. But I'm gonna say when you win, change the background to green, and when you lose, change the background to red. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm going to change on these business. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to Google. I'm going to Google how to do things. And the beautiful thing is that Stack Overflow always has the answer. So what I can do, I'm going to copy this line and this line right here should say document body style background. If we read this, it sounds like the body style and the background is going to be whatever we equal to. So I'm going to make it equal to green if we get it correct. And then I'm going to make it equal to, yeah, I'm just going to make it equal to green if it's correct. So I'm going to run this and let's see if we can get this right. See how quick we can do this little binary search. A little lower, higher. Guessing is so hard. It was green, and now the background is green. But that looks a little not super cute. That's okay. That's something that we can add on later. As you can tell, you can change the CSS in your JavaScript, not just HTML. Okay, maybe center everything. We can actually do that in the HTML because I am actually too lazy to make a new file. Use a style tag. I'm going to do body, and I'm going to do text align, center, and see if that actually gets that correct. Oh, look, here we go. Now everything should be centered. However, I do kind of hate it for the bullets. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is for UL, I'm going to text align left. So let's run that. Let's do 15. It's higher. Let's do 50. It's higher than 50. If anyone has any suggestions for things to add in, let me know and I can see how much we can do in the next 2 minutes. It's higher than 90, dang. It's lower. It's higher. It's lower. It's 93. Okay, so you want to say list style none. List style none. So let's see how that looks. So now we don't have any bullet points, if that was the goal. Okay, what else can we do? We could add in lives. So let's say after this, let's do a quick strong lives span ID equals lives. then what we do here is, let's see how fast we can do this. So we're gonna add in some lives. Let's do const. Oh. Let's do const lives equals document query selector and then lives. Let's figure out how do we want to do this really quick. Let's say let life equals, oh, this is such a cool idea. While I type this is such a cool idea. Say let life equals 3, and then we'll say that we'll make it so lives, we're gonna make it so lives dot text content is equal to life. So we're just getting it like initialized. So if I run this, it should say 3 right there. Okay, it says 3, perfect. Then every time you guess, so every time you guess, lives minus minus. So it's gonna go down a life every time you guess. And then if you win, lives gets reset to 3. Okay, let's see if this works. I don't know how good I am at coding like under pressure. So try a higher number. Ooh, it looks like it might not work. Oh, I think I know why. The problem is I'm using the wrong thing. That's my issue. So your life goes down. Your life goes down, and the text content changes. So let's change that. I love these ideas. Please, that'd be so expensive, but also I would play that game over and over again. Like one whole Bitcoin, you know, not even a fraction. Okay, so we run our guess, say 50. We lose another life, try a higher number, 75. Nothing happens. And then let's say 90. And then we hit that lives are 0. That's fine, nothing happens. So what we can do is we can say if life equals 0, then document body style background equals red. So that's a little basics. I think that's all we have time for. A little cram coding. And we lost our lives. Facts. Honestly, never underestimate the help that ChatGPT can give you, though. You know, it never hurts to use other people's resources. But yeah, so if anyone wants to check out the cram coding that I've done in the past minute, that's what we can do. We can also add in some last minute prettier font. So let's do font family, and let's make it, we can actually use fonts.google.com. Okay, so we want this in English. Let me do this. Oh, is the default English? I did not say see English. I did not see English, so whatever. Oh, Latin? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of things are starting to have more AI code assistance. Okay. First try, dang. That's impressive. Okay, let's do something, let's try to pick a really, really pretty one. Something maybe slightly impractical. Okay. I love little Google fonts. Uh, okay, this isn't super impractical, but we are running out of time. So what I will now be doing is I'm finding regular 400. I'm gonna select this whole family actually. So what I'm doing, if you've never used Google Fonts before into your website, I highly recommend it. It's pretty easy. This is exactly the process. It takes all about 5 minutes. Um, I'm adding in all these different styles. And then I actually probably don't even need all these different styles, but I think they're just, just good to have. Uh, then it says to embed a font, copy this code into the head of your HTML. So I'm gonna do that. And then I know that it's going to be font family bitter. So let's put this here. And then font family bitter. And look at that. Our font has changed. So yeah, I think that's all we have time for right now, but I do want to share what else do we have coming next. This is it for me for this stream. I really always love being here with y'all. It's always a great time. But shortly after me, you're going to start a series of designing and developing a digital stylus for the visually impaired. That's actually super cool. That's super cool. In order to have that be happening, I've got to hop off because it's about to happen in 4 minutes. But I really appreciate y'all joining me, being with me, especially as my computer lags and my camera is a little bit slow. So I really appreciate you sticking out for the end, building a little game with me, and having a little bit of fun and excitement. So to end things off, I'm gonna try see if I can guess what this is. Say it's 4. I have lost. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys coming here. Thank you for being here. And I can't wait to see y'all at the next Global Hack Week. Again, if you want to see any of the old stuff, the links down below, hackpack/YFW with Mara3 has access to all the previous GitHub repos, as well as the live streams are on, their VODs on Twitch. And if you also want to stay in touch, find me on Twitter at MaraCodes. But all in all, I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much, and good night or good morning.